Good night, you guys. My name is Christine Jen, and in today's video, I would like to talk to you about a Haitian film called Languichatte Invisible. So for today's show, I will be talking to you about this film called Languichatte Invisible, which starts Theodore Beaubrun as Languichatte, his wife Mantout, and their daughter Nola, and Doctor Fanfan Jacky, right? So I'm going to explain to you all these people in the description below. So you remember before I had done a review of a Haitian film which was based on Romeo and Juliet loosely, and this is those same characters in that review, right? So it's the same series of characters, but this is a new film starring these characters. So I'm going to start. So Languichatte Invisible starts off with Doctor Fanfan Jacky, which I called the suitor in the other film review, saying Eureka, because he's found a magic elixir. He's concocted a magic elixir in his lab that can cure any type of ailment, right? And Nola, which is his longtime love interest, is telling him, look, you've been working so hard, so tirelessly in the lab. You need to go and take a break, because he has been working hard. He's been working really studiously in the lab to make this special concoction. In the meantime, we see Mantout and Languichatte in the living room, and Languichatte is just laying down on the couch, and Mantout is asking him what's wrong. So Languichatte's like, I'm so cold, you know. I feel feverish, I feel cold. It's been like this for a while. So Mantout goes and feels his forehead, and she's like, wow, you are cold. She goes and she tests his temperature, and she sees that it's 0 degrees. Bear with me, 0 degrees means you're dead, but this is a film, so we're gonna give it some slack, right? It's just a film. So Mantout advises him to go and see Doctor Fanfan, which is what I call the suitor in the last film. And Languichatte's like, he's an old bama, old hick, someone who's what you would call an habitant, somebody who's just used to folk medicine, taking special teas, special concoctions. He's like, you know what, I really am adverse to going to the doctor's office. I really don't think I should. But Mantout's like, your temperature is dangerously low. You should actually go and see Dr. Fanfan. So Languichatte, against his own wishes, decides maybe Mantout is right, and he goes and sees Doctor Fanfan Jacky in his office. So when he's at the office, we see Dr. Jacky's like, he's explaining to Dr. Jacky Fanfan about his symptoms, and Dr. Jacky suggests that he takes his elixir 1/4 in the morning, 1/4 in the early afternoon, 1/4 in the late afternoon, and 1/4 finally in the night. So in increments of 1/4, he should take the elixir in 4 times, right? So he says, you'll be the first person that I've actually tested this on. And so Languichatte's like, what am I now, a guinea pig? I'm the first person you're testing this on. And Fanfan is like, yeah, but it's a surefire way for you to be cured, because I've been working really hard on it. So Dr. Fanfan steps out, and Languichatte, against what Dr. Fanfan told him, decides to take the whole medication in one, right? Because he hates taking medication. He feels like it would be a chore to take it 4 times in 4 increments, 4 times during during the day. So he takes it all in one go. It is at this time he starts feeling kind of off. He's like, I feel kind of strange, and at this time there's a mirror close by, right? There's a mirror close by, and he just feels very odd, very strange. He looks in the mirror and he sees he cannot see himself. Magically, he can't see himself. He's become invisible due to taking the elixir in one shot, right? So that's one of the bad things about the elixir. We find out is that when you take it in one shot, it makes you invisible, right? It makes you invisible. So he finds out he's invisible. So he goes, and Doctor Fanfan Jacky comes in, and he tries to speak to him, but Doctor Fanfan appears not to see him. So now, armed with his power, he goes home. He steps out of the office and he goes home. At this time, Mantout and Nola, their daughter, Languichatte and Mantout's daughter Nola, are discussing she's discussing her father, Languichatte, and the cold that he had the afternoon that the mother told her about. And she's like, Dr. Fanfan just called me and he said he left the office. I hope he's actually taking the medication, right? Because we all know that he's a hick. He hates taking medication. He would much rather just take teas and all that stuff and all those folklore medication, right? So at this time, a friend of the family, Barnaby, comes in. By the way, Barnaby is played by Theodore Beaubrun Jr., which is a fun fact. It's played by Languichatte's son in real life. So Barnaby is talking about Languichatte, and at this time, Languichatte has already entered into the home, right? He's invisible, so no one can see him. So at this time, but they're talking about Languichatte, and they're talking about how he had a cold this afternoon, and now he had a temperature of 0 degrees. So Barnaby takes it upon himself to insult Languichatte, and it's at this time that he slaps him. Languichatte, who's invisible, slaps him on the back of the head, right? So Mantout and Nola are surprised when he screams in shock, right? Like, what happened? He's like, something hit me in the back of my head. So it's from this point on we're gonna see that the movie is gonna start, right? It's gonna start, and it's also at this time that Azibe and Milani, the maid and the Gironlaco, which is the gardener, I believe is the gardener or the gatekeeper of the house, come in from the countryside after taking a vacation, right? They come in, and it's at this time that the movie starts getting interesting, right? So they're in the kitchen, and things start moving. The refrigerator door starts opening and closing shut, and they're like, what's up with the house? Is the house haunted? So Languichatte, who sees he has this newfound power of being invisible, is deciding to mess with Azibe, Milani, and Barnaby, right? By slapping them here and there, by opening the refrigerator door and shutting it, by moving objects, and they all think that the house is haunted. So, but Mantout, the mother, Languichatte's wife, is like, I don't believe in such things, right? We just have to get to the bottom of what's going on. I don't believe in such things as a haunted house, right? So now all of them believe that the house is haunted. They're all scared because things are going awry and things are moving around, and the refrigerator door is opening and shutting, and people don't know what is going on with this, and some of the people are getting slapped. Milani, Azibe, and Barnaby are getting slapped in the back of the head, right? So they're like, okay, what is causing all this? So Barnaby suggests they get a prêtre or a priest to try to exercise the house or see what's going on in the house. To which Milani, the housekeeper, the maid, who has a mouth on her, says maybe we should get like a witch doctor or a boko or a witch doctor to come and see if there are certain spirits roaming around the house. So Mantout, who's just dead set against the idea, says, look, I'm a woman of God, and I forbid any type of activity such as a witch doctor to be entertained into my house. So against Mantout's wishes, Melanie, the housekeeper, who is like, who is so, she's like actually very outspoken. She's actually, sometimes she has a mouth on her, right? She's a very spirited woman, right? Against Mantout's advising her not to get it, she gets the witch doctor anyway, right? She gets the Hugon, the Boko, the witch doctor anyway, to go and see what's going on, what activity is going on in the house, and why it seems like these things are happening all around the house. So then the Boko comes into the yard, and he's like, did you get what I told you to get? The barbecue rum, the eye of newt, the powdered thing, and all of this stuff, right? And she's like, yeah, I got everything, right? And he's like, that will cost you 3 piastres. 3 piastres is a certain amount of money, right? She's like, no, I don't have that much money. And he's like, but I'll give you this certain amount, which I have, and I'll give you the rest later. And he's like, okay, that will do. So then he begins to do certain incantations, like say certain incantations, like throw the alcohol around, drink some of the alcohol. And he's like, there are 3 spirits sent to your house, 2 dead spirits of people that have been sent to your house. And us as the audience, we know that he's just making up lies, because we know that Languichatte has become invisible and he's the one that's wreaking havoc, right? There's no such things as dead spirits that have been roaming the house, because it's only Languichatte who's become invisible that has been causing all this havoc, right? So Azibe, the gardener, comes in. He comes in and he sees what Melanie has done, and he's like, you know, Mantout wouldn't like that, right? The Mantout is the woman who owns the house, right? Mantout is the owner of the house. She wouldn't like it, and she told him that she doesn't like that type of activity in her house. So Azibe goes to Mantout in the living room, and she says that Melanie has invited a Boko, a Hugon, a witch doctor, to come into the back of the house. So Mantout goes in the yard, and she confronts the witch doctor, right? And she tells him, look, I don't understand. I'm a woman of God. I forbid you to continue to doing this nonsense in my backyard. And he says, look, lady, you have 3 dead spirits that have been sent into your house to wreak havoc all around. She says, in the name of Jesus Christ, I don't believe in this nonsense, and I forbid you from continuing, and I want you out of my house. So they're back and forth, back and forth. Languichatte comes, who's invisible, comes out of the yard and slaps the Hugon 3 times in the back of the head, right? The boy called the witch doctor, right? He sets off running, right? Because he's like, man, what just did that? So things like that, which is hilarious, especially the first time I saw it, shows you, like, it's very funny. It has a lot of comic relief in it, right? Because we see that the witch doctor has actually been lying, because no such thing has been done into the house, right? It's just Languichatte wreaking havoc, right? So after a while, and as an aside, this movie is an older Haitian movie that was broadcast in the 80s, I believe, I want to say. And the first time I saw this movie was back in the early 90s when my mom bought this tape on Flatbush, right? She bought this tape on Flatbush, and the thing you must know about this movie is that it's it's about 2 to 3 hours long. It's a long movie, right? And the thing I like about this movie is that it plays with spooky ideas, but it's done in a very comedic way, so you'll never get scared, right? And the thing is, it's the type of movie that if you're in your home and it's raining, you could curl up and just watch it, and you could just get really cozy and comfortable if you understood Creole, right? So it's that type of movie. And so I'm gonna continue with the plot, right? So then throughout this point, the Azibe, Melanie, and Barnabe, and Mantout and Nola decide to break up in groups, right? Because they're sure that the house is haunted, and they don't understand why these things keep happening, where people are getting hit, people are getting slapped, things are happening in the house, the refrigerator door is opening and shutting. They want to understand what's going on, right? So then finally, after a while, Languichatte becomes, there is a point in the film where after a while Languichatte gets tired of being invisible, right? He becomes tired of being invisible, and he just wants to talk to his wife and his daughter, who are very concerned because they haven't seen their father all afternoon. And they're like, man, what could have happened to him? How come he didn't come back? They're getting concerned, and he frankly is tired of playing games. He just wants his family to see him, right? So then there's a point in the film where he begins to drive Doctor Fanfan Jacky's car. He's trying to get Doctor Fanfan to understand that he's invisible, so that he can make him back to reappear again. So what you need to know is that there's a point where Doctor Fanfan puts 2 and 2 together, that what must have happened is that he must have taken too much of the elixir, but it takes a long time for him to figure this out, right? So towards the end, he actually goes with Nola into the lab, and he's testing the elixir to see what could have happened, right? So when he tests the elixir, he sees what happened is that he took it in one shot. So he has a pigeon in his hand, and he gives the whole concoction to the pigeon, right? The pigeon disappears. So he's like, whoa, Eureka, that's what happened to Languichatte. That's how come he must have become invisible, and he must be the person that is causing all this havoc around the house, causing us to think that the house is haunted. So then there's a point where he's like, look, I have to find the antidote so that we could make him reappear again. So then he works the antidote, he works tirelessly in the lab, and he finds out the way to get the pigeon to reappear, to get Languichatte to reappear, is by giving him the same concoction in the same dose back again. So they measure the elixir and give the pigeon the same dose again, and the pigeon magically reappears, right? And they say, Eureka, and Nola's like, Dr. Fanfan, you're a genius, right? So they find that the way that they're gonna turn Languichatte back into his normal self, to reappear again, is to give him the elixir in full back the same way that he took it mistakenly. So towards the end, they try and convince him. They go back into the house and they try and convince him, which it really isn't that much, because he really was getting tired of being invisible. Excuse me. So then he was really tired of being invisible. So he takes the concoction in one swig again, and after a waiting game, he reapparates, right? So when he reappears, they're all relieved, they're all happy, and they all hug him, because it's like, okay, it's been a long time since we've seen you, especially Mantout and Nola. So towards the end, it ends kind of funny, is that they all slap him because he's been wreaking havoc and slapping them the whole time, right? So it ends in that way, comedically, right? So Languichatte Invisible is one of my favorite films of the Languichatte series ever, right? Because it's so funny. It's one of those films that you actually could just snuggle up and look at it on film and just enjoy it, right? Because it's not scary. It's actually funny, more funny than scary, right? But the only thing is that this film is very hard to get a hold of. I had the tape when I was much younger. We borrowed it to a neighbor, and the neighbor never gave it back to us, right? They took it, and they just took it, and they never gave it back. So I've only been able to see it again through YouTube, which has only portions of the film, which from what I remember was a very long film. It's very long. It's like 2 to 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours extended, very long, right? So there's a huge chunk of it I did not get to tell you guys, because I've only been able to see the parts recently. So I'm gonna give you my review now, right? So my review is that I would give this film a B+, right? A B+, because it's an entertaining film. It's a cute film. The only thing is that it's hard to get a hold of, and due to it not aging well, the film is kind of, the picture did not age well, right? But I think this adds to the charm. It doesn't take away from it. I also give it a B plus because I give it a B plus because I feel like, because it's hard to get a hold of, I take away from that. I take away from that because it's hard to get a hold of, right? So basically, because of that, I give it a B plus. It would have gotten A minus, but because it's hard to get a hold of to even see, I give it a B plus, right? So then, you guys, I really hope you enjoy this movie review, and it's a review of the Haitian film Languichatte Invisible, starring Theodore Beaubrun as Languichatte, who becomes invisible due to an elixir he takes, right? So then, you guys, that's my video for today. My name is Fanfan Jacky.